The Temple of Horyu-ji is the oldest wooden structure in the world. It was built around 607 CE and is still a functioning temple today. Japan is famous as one of the most adaptable and advanced nations today. Its people have survived internal collapses and external conflicts that would have ruined other countries. Yet despite all the heartache, the Japanese shared their resilience and creativity with the world through their culture and art. Some of their most famous artwork is actually their temples. Buddhism arrived in Japan in either 538 or 552 CE, and it has become the second largest religion in the country. Although the Japanese also practice Shintoism, those shrines are usually simple and small, with rising steps and peaked roofs. In contrast to the simple shrines, the Japanese built many Buddhist temples in their practice of Mahayana Buddhism. Each of those temples is a beautiful work of art that displays Japanese values and ingenuity. Here are 5 of the most famous and beautiful temples in Japan. Number 1. Horyu-ji Temple. The Horyu-ji Temple is famous for having the oldest wooden building in the world. Still, its age does not mean that it has fallen into disrepair. Instead, it is one of Japan's most beautiful temple complexes. There are multiple on-site buildings, some of which are used today to house the library, lecture halls, and monastery, among others. There are 48 buildings in all. The complex dates back to Prince Shotoku, who ruled from 594 to 622 CE during the Asuka period. Prince Shotoku built many temples because Buddhism had just arrived from Korea. This new religion sparked interest and controversy, especially among some rulers. The only temple that survived from the Asuka period in its original state is the Horyu-ji Temple. Some sources say that the prince built the temple to fulfill Emperor Yomei vows, taken just before his death, and the temple was completed around 607 CE, making it one of the earliest Buddhist temples in Japan. However, the Horyu-ji Temple has seen its share of disaster. Around 670 CE, a fire broke out, and some sources say that the entire complex was destroyed. Historians disagree about if all buildings were destroyed. Some believe the Great Hall, outer gate, and pagoda did not burn. Regardless, the Japanese quickly rebuilt, and the Horyu-ji Temple was ready again by 710 CE. The Horyu-ji Temple is a wonder of Asuka architecture. It combines Chinese Buddhist architecture with Japanese traditions to create something beautiful and new. The buildings have substantial wooden supports that bear the weight of the immense tile roof. Despite their weight, the buildings still stand. They utilize block plates and brackets to distribute the load, which are decorated to look like clouds. The facilities are also painted inside and out, with the inside of the main hall painted with colorful murals to make it look like paradise. Many works of art exist throughout the complex, and the Horyu-ji Temple became a World Heritage Site in December 1993, the first one in Japan. The temple has been essential to the Japanese since it was built. It has seen significant restoration in the 1300s, 1600s, and 1900s to maintain its unique and beautiful buildings. Number 2. Stenoji Temple. The Stenoji Temple is also one of the oldest temples in Japan, but it was the first one built by the government. Prince Shotoku built this temple in 593 CE, making it the oldest official temple in Japan. The prince wanted to encourage others to accept the Buddhist faith, which is why his building projects were so extensive. He even hired 3 Korean carpenters to help build the Stenoji Temple. Sadly, the original Stenoji Temple burned. In fact, the buildings have been destroyed by fire several times throughout the years. The disasters did not stop the Japanese from using the complex. The current Stenoji Temple was rebuilt in the 1960s and 1970s. The builders carefully reconstructed it to model the original architecture from the Asuka period, so it is still a beautiful example of traditional Japanese architecture. Prince Shotoku named the temple complex after Buddhism's 4 heavenly kings. It has multiple buildings. However, the temple was intended for more than just religious worship. It also had a school, hospital, and pharmacy to help the Japanese people. Other wonders on site include the pagoda, which is 5 stories tall, and the treasure house. Aptly named, the treasure house is filled with many pieces of art and historical relics like papers, statues, and paintings. Many of them are Japanese national treasures. The treasure house is a museum today. displaying the temple's valuables for people to see and experience in period-based displays. However, one of the most stunning areas in the Stenoji Temple is the Gokura-kujoru Garden. Standing at the complex's northeast corner, this strolling garden is intended to remind viewers of Amida Buddha's Western paradise. It is spacious, peaceful, and filled with cherry trees. There are even streams and a pond to enhance the beauty. The Stenoji Temple is still active today as the head of the Wa sect of Buddhism. The buildings have undergone several iterations, and the current facilities are actually a downsized version today. However, this temple is still steeped in history, and the people take care of it to preserve its beauty for another generation. Number 3. Todaiji Temple. The Todaiji Temple is famous for housing the Great Buddha, the largest bronze statue in the world that depicts the Buddha sitting down and teaching. Todai-ji translates as Great Eastern Temple because it was built by Emperor Shomu in the east of his imperial palace. The original complex was enormous, and it took up 16 blocks of the city of Nara. Still, it needed to be large because Emperor Shomu intended it to become the central point of the Buddhist temple network. Emperor Shomu began construction on the Todaiji Temple in 738 CE. Still, it was not open to the public until 752 CE. Even then, it wasn't completed until 798 CE. The complex was impressive, but the most awe-inspiring building was the Daibutsu-den, which translates as Great Buddha Hall. It is the largest wooden building today, measuring 187 feet by 165 feet and standing 155 feet high. But the Daibutsu-den today is not the original one. The original hall was about a third bigger, but it has seen multiple destructions through the years. The Daibutsu-den had to be so big because it housed the Great Buddha. The bronze statue is around 49 feet high and weighs about 500 tons. The building and the statue have needed restorations over the years. Only the statue's base and legs are original, because the head was lost in an earthquake in 1923 CE. Part of the temple complex burned down during the Genpei War. The Taira clan deliberately attacked the monks for their involvement in politics and support for their rivals, the Minamoto clan. Luckily, the Minamoto clan won and restored much of the complex. The current Daibutsu-den was rebuilt after another earthquake in 1709 CE, and it has undergone restoration since. Of course, the Todaiji Temple complex has other buildings. The Lotus Hall even has sections that are original to the construction in the 700s. Many other statues and historical artifacts throughout the complex came from China or India and were given as royal gifts to the temple. They are kept in the Shosu-in treasury, but are usually unavailable for the public to see. However, one treasure that all who visit the temple can see is the bronze lantern in the center of the path outside the Daibutsu-den. It is octagonal and dates from the start of the temple. The Todaiji Temple is full of beautiful art and impressive architecture, and still serves as the active head of the Kigen sect today. Number 4. Kinkakuji Temple. The Kinkakuji Temple is famous for being covered in gold leaf and attracts tourists year-round. Still, when it became part of national history in 1397, it was a retirement home for the shogun Ashikaga Yoshimitsu, who ruled from 1368 to about 1394 CE, and was still politically involved after his retirement. His retirement home was filled with art, but Ashikaga Yoshimitsu instructed his son to turn the complex into a Buddhist temple upon his death, which he did in 1408 CE. This temple is also called the Golden Pavilion, but it is not covered in gold just to be ostentatious. Instead, Pure Land Buddhism connects gold to spiritual purity. Paradise is filled with gold and silver pavilions. Combined with the breathtaking beauty around the Kinkakuji Temple, it is intended to showcase the Buddhist ideal of paradise. The woods around the temple allow for meditative strolling, and the pond reflects the golden covering of the building. Although the complex has few buildings, the gardens also allow for strolling and contain scenes from Chinese and Japanese literature, giving time and content for deep thoughts. However, the current Kinkakuji Temple is not the original from 1408 CE. Fires ravaged it throughout its history. The most famous fire occurred in 1950, when a dissatisfied young Buddhist monk set fire to the building and completely destroyed it. Thankfully, the temple was restored and opened again in 1955, shining once more and covered in pure gold leaf. Because the Kinkakuji Temple has been rebuilt and restored many times, it is now a mix of several Japanese styles. The first floor reflects the Heian period, which dates from before the temple officially began. The second floor has the living space and the Buddha Hall, a gathering space decorated with painted clouds, birds, and instruments. The hall also has a Buddhist shrine to remind the people gathered to be compassionate. The top floor has the temple's relics and is decorated with gold leaf inside and outside. The Kinkakuji Temple is one of the most famous and beautiful Japanese temples. The temple became a World Heritage Site in 1994, and although part of its beauty comes from its location, the rest comes from its long history and the Japanese dedication to preserving its history. Number 5. Kiyomizu-dera Temple. The Kiyomizu-dera Temple is also known as the Temple of the Pure Water Spring because it is built near the Otowa Spring, which many believe to have healing properties. The temple was founded in 778 CE. According to Enshin Shonin, a Buddhist priest, he received a vision to build a new temple in the spring. The site grew in 798 CE after Emperor Kamu moved his capital from Nara to Heian-kyo, as a large hall was moved from his old palace and reassembled on the temple grounds. The temple grew in power and popularity. Today, it is most famous for its viewing platform. The main hall perches on a steep cliff and is built using traditional Japanese construction, so there are no nails. The middle portion is open for people to walk through, and the sanctuaries contain paintings and religious texts. Because the building used to be part of the imperial palace, it used shingle roofing instead of tile. However, the most impressive part of the main hall is the Kiyomizu stage, which is a viewing platform today. It stands about 40 feet high and is built with the same traditional techniques. The 18 support pillars are about 400 years old, having been reconstructed in 1633 after a fire. Although the stage offers beautiful views, during the Edo period, many monks believed they could demonstrate their faith by leaping off the platform with a prayer to Kannon. Such practice is now forbidden, but surprisingly, only 34 of the 234 recorded jumpers died. The valley below has many trees, which cushion their fall. The Kiyo-Mizudera Temple is home to other traditions, such as the pagoda added after 1633. It was built to store religious texts and relics, but people also believe it can grant trouble-free childbirth. The complex is filled with beautiful architecture that shows off Japanese mastery, and it is easily one of the most famous Japanese temples. Japanese temples are all unique, but they celebrate Buddhism in Japan through impressive architecture and stunning artwork. Some are famous for the decorations or statues, but all of them showcase Japanese culture's beauty and encourage people to slow down and meditate on the beauty around them. I hope you found this video to be captivating. How would you like to get a deeper understanding of history, impress your friends, and predict the future more accurately based on past events? If this sounds like something you might be into, then check out the brand new Captivating History Book Club by clicking the first link in the description. To learn more about Japan, check out our book, History of Japan, a captivating guide to Japanese history, including events such as the Genpei War, Mongol invasions, Battle of Tsushima, and atomic bombings of Hiroshima and Nagasaki. It's available as an ebook, paperback, and audiobook. If you enjoyed the video, please hit the like button and subscribe for more videos like this.